Welcome back, listeners, and welcome to the Starting Grid. It's been 3 weeks or 4 weeks since you've last heard from us, and we apologize for that. But we're back. We're back to discuss some Formula One racing news, events, and everything surrounding it. Calvin's back in town. I'm back in town.
It feels good.
We're back. So, as always, I'm your host, Malik Durajai, and with me, I've got Calvin, as usual.
Welcome.
So, let's start with the important stuff. How was Belgium?
Oh, Belgium was cool.
Did you run into any Verstappen fans?
I didn't go to Spa. I just went to Brussels.
Did you? Oh, no, you were in Amsterdam.
Yeah,
right.
yeah. We did take a day trip to Brussels, though.
Did you get Brussels sprouts? Do they serve Brussels sprouts in Brussels?
No, I ran into a lot of, armed military personnel.
Oh, what?
Yeah, it's a whole thing.
Oh, dang.
So apparently, like, the capital of the EU or, like, their government is there.
Oh, okay.
So everything's, like, super guarded.
That's interesting. I would have thought the EU capital would be in, like, Austria, where the UN is, or, like...
Nah.
Or even, what was it, Switzerland, Geneva, like, something like that.
Yeah, right?
So it's in Brussels.
Yeah, dude. We went to a couple... we were trying to find a garden and went into a couple buildings that were definitely off limits.
Why are you trying to find a garden?
There's like this like touristy like old palace garden thing.
Oh, gotcha.
And we took a couple of wrong turns and some guards were like, yeah, it's that way. It definitely wasn't that way.
So you telling me a bunch of dudes were walking around Brussels looking for flowers to go look at?
Exactly.
Oh, nice. That's sweet.
It was beautiful, man.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, me and one of the guys I was traveling with went to Brussels, and it was the perfect
so it was
mandate.
It was a mandate.
Yeah,
nice. Nice.
We had some Belgian beers and some Belgian chocolate. So
that's cool.
It was a good time.
Was it good stuff? Was the chocolate good?
Oh, dude. Oh, I should have brought you some.
Dang, savage. I thought you were a friend.
I know. Dude.
How dare you?
I'm letting you down.
Dang.
But
that's
time.
cool. I'm glad you had a good time. Did you see a lot of Verstappen orange when you were in Amsterdam, or nobody really was looking at the race?
Not really. No,
didn't find the sports bar during the race weekend?
No, dude. We tried... I don't know. I don't know if my friend just like completely ignored what I said, but she's like, yeah, we're doing this on Sunday. I was like, okay. I guess... I guess.
Ooh, I'm gonna tell a certain somebody. I was gonna say her name on the podcast, but I'm gonna leave her off. That's funny.
No, it's my best friend's wife. So,
oh, okay.
Yeah. No.
Likely story. No, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding.
So yeah, we had other plans, and we didn't make it to the pub to watch the game or the race. So
you're incriminating yourself, but you had other plans with your best friend's wife.
Dude, I know. Yeah, right.
Okay.
You should be a detective. Why are you an engineer?
Let's go ahead and switch the subject real quick. So, shall we talk about some Formula One stuff that's going on?
Yeah, let's get into it.
Well, first, I want to this is going to be a mood killer, but we're going to switch over to the first bit of things that happened while we were gone. And that is the loss of Antoine Hubert. Hopefully I'm saying his name right. Had a pretty bad wreck in Spa in the Formula 2 race.
Yeah, it was pretty terrible.
So we know that racing, of course, it's a tough sport. It's a dangerous sport. And regardless, I think, like you said, you were just saying something about how safe the cars are now.
Yeah, I think last podcast we did was, a month ago now?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, oh, these things are so safe. Like, we see all these incidents and they get up and they walk away.
Yeah.
But, I mean, we never see that kind of accident anymore. So.
That was a very bad accident.
Yeah.
And no matter how safe they make it, there's still a chance for things to go wrong. And so we've got to give a lot of respect to these guys that are out there putting their lives on the line, going over 200 miles an hour through turns and things like that. So it's really unfortunate that he lost his life, and we lost a rising star in the world of Formula racing.
Yeah, absolutely. It's really tragic.
The other driver, Juan Manuel Correa, was just recently exited the coma. I think he was in a medically induced coma, I believe. And so they took him out of that coma, or he was able to wake up out of that. But he still has some serious injuries, but he's expected to have a full recovery from what I've seen. So,
well, that's good.
yeah.
I mean,
it's good for some. You know, it's good that he's okay, basically. So yeah, that's that. Be safe out there, drivers, go-karting and things like that, because it's dangerous. Can be dangerous. All right, so moving on into the rest of the 3 races that we've missed here. We had Spa, Monza, and Singapore.
Singapore is one of my favorite races. Like the night setting, street track.
Great. And it was a good race. It's a good race this weekend. So
I think there are always good races in Singapore. So
the important thing to note is that we have had awesome races every race since, I think, China, right? Mm-hmm. China was the only race. Like, Bahrain was awesome. China was boring. After that, pure awesomeness. Every last race so far has been on point.
At least entertaining.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Monza was great. So, like, let's talk about these 3. Monza, we had Leclerc getting his, Spa. Leclerc getting his first Formula One win. Mm-hmm. The thing that was stripped from him in Bahrain.
Yeah.
He has now taken back the throne for that and gotten that first win. And he dedicated to Antoine as well. So, because that was the other thing, is that a lot of these guys are friends with a lot of these. You know, we already know these drivers. They race with them a lot of times.
Oh yeah,
through their life. So he's really close with them and hit him hard. But he said too that it was kind of a struggle weekend for him, or a struggle win for him, because on one hand, he's got his first Formula One win. On the other hand, he just lost a really good friend. Yeah. So his emotions were kind of all over the place.
Oh, yeah. All this reward, I guess, and then tragedy on the other hand.
Exactly. But he got his first win. What else did we see in that race? We saw
Verstappen out lap 1.
Yeah, that was unfortunate.
Yeah.
Pulling a Hulkenberg.
Yep, just going for it.
Now, he didn't really miss his braking point, but he did kind of put his car in a terrible position, a position that he probably knows that he shouldn't have been in. Mm-hmm. I mean, on a corner that's essentially almost a 180-degree turn.
Yeah.
The last thing you want to do is go sticking your car up the inside at the tightest point of the corner, because, for one, I don't know what he was expecting. I don't know how he's expecting to take that turn. Like,
I don't know.
From that position.
Yeah. It looked like he was kind of hanging back, kind of waiting to see what developed, but then there was just nowhere for him to go.
He would have either made the slowest turn in F1 history to make that, or he would have pushed everyone wide to come out of it. Mm-hmm. So I don't know what he was doing, but yeah, then we saw the other big thing we saw was Lando Norris going from 5th all the way down to DNFing with 1 lap to go. That was unfortunate.
Yeah. That's brutal.
Just sad.
The worst luck. And then everyone gets to finish while you're still sitting there.
Yeah.
Right at the start-finish line on your last lap.
It was all bad. I think that's the general. So that was the first race for Albon as well. First race that Albon replaced Gasly.
He did well. He got some penalties for, gearbox change, I think.
Yep, and he made his way all the way back up.
So, yeah, he did well. Like 16th, 5th or something. So.
Yeah, I think so. It was a decent drive. And then I think he definitely stamped his drive in Monza and Singapore as well. He stamped that he is doing a lot better than Pierre Gasly was doing.
Yeah, I was going to ask, how do you feel about that? Like,
well,
I think Gasly's looking pretty good in the Torosso.
Yeah,
though.
right.
This is where he belongs.
It is. It's unfortunate, but yeah, it seems like he just didn't have a handle on that Red Bull, unfortunately, and he's doing really well in the Torosso.
Yeah.
Now, that's not to say, who knows, maybe he would have figured out the car back by the time Spa came around, and but
yeah,
we'll never know.
Yeah, I mean, he had plenty of opportunity, I guess.
Yeah,
leading up to it. So, but yeah, that was good to see Albon.
Yeah. So moving on to Monza, we saw Leclerc get his second F1 win in a row.
Yeah, Ferrari hometown track.
So that was awesome. Yeah. The Tifosi, is that what they call them?
Yeah, I'm not even going to try to pronounce it. I'm bad enough with words as it is. Man. I'm not even going to try to attempt that.
They're super happy with Leclerc's performance. He's the first. I think Vettel has never even gotten a win at Monza, so he's the first Ferrari driver in a while.
Since 2009 or something. I might be completely off on that.
To give them a win in this hybrid, this new turbo hybrid era. Mm-hmm. So awesome for them. I'm not gonna hate. I would only hate if Vettel did it. So no, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, right. Well, that's Ferrari's track, though. I mean, yeah, they haven't won there, but they've always done well.
Yeah, so. Well, they've always done well everywhere, but
that's true.
They just couldn't beat Mercedes. Speaking of Vettel, in that race, he pulled a Vettel.
Yeah.
And this time in the worst possible way, with no one around him, no one battling him, no pressure.
That's classic Vettel, though.
Oh, man. He spun out and then made some ridiculous decisions getting back on the track. I remember looking into it after, and I think people were saying that, like, he couldn't see. He had no idea who was coming.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was kind of just a blind.
Because the way the car was facing. Mm-hmm. But if you don't know if there's some F1 car coming over 200 miles an hour through there,
get on the radio.
You should probably not pull out perpendicular into the middle of the racetrack. Like you probably just shouldn't do that. You should probably reverse, or I don't know, like figure out a different way.
Right.
The other thing they said is he should have looked to the marshals, but I imagine that's probably the last thing you're thinking. I mean, it all happened so fast, it probably didn't occur to him to look to the marshals. So he pulled out into the track and ran and hit Lance Stroll, who then spun and was in a similar situation, except he was halfway. The difference is Lance Stroll was halfway on the track when he spun. So he stopped halfway on the track. Vettel was off the track and came back onto the track.
Yeah, right into
at a perpendicular angle. Yeah. So Lance Stroll was halfway on the track still. He tried to get going again, and he ran Pierre Gasly wide. Gasly would have hit him if he didn't take evasive action. And I think because of those circumstances, and because the only reason Lance Stroll was in that position was because of Vettel, only Vettel got the penalty from what I remember.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, 10-second stop-go penalty.
Yep. So that took away Vettel's race.
Yeah.
So Leclerc took a win on that race, and that was that.
2 wins in a row.
Yep. Almost had 3 at Singapore, which we're going to talk about now.
Oh, yeah.
But there were some bad strategy, or not some bad strategy calls. There were some unfair strategy calls or incorrect strategy calls for Ferrari. I guess it is bad strategy because they could have had a 1-2 with Leclerc at the top, but instead they had a 1-2 with Vettel in the front, and it kind of screwed Leclerc out of a win basically
in Singapore.
In Singapore, so I think you missed it, right? But basically, Vettel undercut. Mm-hmm. They gave Vettel the undercut on Leclerc, on his own teammate. And Hamilton also got a Mercedes had a bad strategy call. Hamilton was running in second place. Vettel was in third, went into the pits. Then they pitted Leclerc the very next lap, told Hamilton to do opposite of Leclerc. So now Hamilton's out for 2 laps longer.
Try to get the Vettel overcut, right?
Yeah. Then Vettel. Now Hamilton's out for 2 laps longer than Vettel had pit, right? Mm-hmm. And Leclerc went in after Vettel, who was behind him, so that didn't make any sense.
They were trying to make up time, but he's on worse tires.
Yeah. So then when Leclerc went in, he came out behind Vettel. Mm-hmm. And then when Hamilton finally went in after 3 laps, he came out behind Max Verstappen. So he went from second to fourth.
And that was
just a matter of 3 laps and a bad pit stop call by both Ferrari and I think it was because of Ferrari. They caused so much confusion that Mercedes were caught off guard because it's such a bad call. They just didn't even know. They're like, oh crap, this call was such a terrible one. We don't even know how to react.
Right. Well, I was listening to the radio and it sounded like it was Hamilton pushing for. He's like, let's go for the overcut. Let's do it. And let's stay out. And then they're like, okay, yeah, do the opposite. And then it just didn't work out for him.
Well, I think he called for undercut, actually. But then because of...
To box, yeah.
I think he was trying to undercut...
They should have just, as soon as Leclerc went into the pits, just followed behind him.
Should have. I mean,
maybe you can beat him in the pits. Who knows?
Possibly. Yeah, I think he was trying to undercut Leclerc, but when Vettel went in instead, that threw Mercedes off, and then they told him to try to overcut her.
Yeah.
Because I guess they figured that Ferrari would have to slow Vettel down to give Leclerc the lead again. Who knows?
Yeah.
Who knows? Either way, it was kind of a cluster. The other great thing about this race this past weekend was Lando Norris finishing best of the rest as usual. So he's definitely solidly great driver for McLaren. I mean, they have turned him and Carlos Sainz have just turned their whole life around, their whole team around as far as what they were last year and the year before that.
Oh, absolutely.
To now.
Was it announced during the last month that they're the drivers for going into next year for McLaren?
I think so. I don't know if it was last month. I think it was before. I think we talked about it already.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that sounds right.
And then also there was an amazing last lap battle for 11th, which if you see the onboard for, that's what racing is about right there. It's good stuff.
Yeah, 4 drivers battling for 11th, which means nothing.
Yeah.
But it was good racing.
It was.
That was fun to watch.
I can't remember exactly who all was involved, but I'm pretty sure. I mean, it was a Renault,
I think it was Ricardo.
It was a Renault, a Racing Point, a Alfa Romeo, and a Haas.
Yeah.
So all battling it out for 11th in very close quarters racing. I mean, I think all 4 of them switched places a few times over a course of a couple of corners. So it was awesome.
Yeah, it was fun. Good to watch.
So now that we've done kind of quickly reviewing those, let's just talk about the state of what you think about the state of affairs of kind of the field, and we'll go from the top. So,
well, what did you think of Hamilton not being first place on the podium?
For the first time,
in the last 3 races, yeah.
Not even first place, but not even on the podium. Mercedes not being on the podium because Hamilton hasn't gotten first a whole lot through the season, but Mercedes have definitely gotten first a whole lot.
A lot of what? First 6 or
everything up until
1, 2, yeah,
everything up until Spa,
yeah.
So. Or actually, no, Verstappen won in Austria, but most everything up until Spa.
So I don't recall off the top of my head where Hamilton finished in the 3 races. Did he make the podium at all in any of these 3 races? Or?
Oh yeah, he did.
Yeah.
He just didn't make Singapore.
Okay, yeah, that's what I thought.
Yep.
Yeah. So I mean, what's up with your boy?
I mean, he could take second, he took second place at 2 tracks that were, did he take second at Monza and at Spa? I mean, both power tracks that are
which is
tailored towards Ferrari.
Exactly. Yeah, we kind of expected them not to do super well.
Yeah.
On those tracks.
So.
And this is where Ferrari was going to shine.
Yeah, so, I mean, I'm not going to fault him for coming in a close second or second place at a track where, Mercedes or Ferrari was supposed to be number 1. I would fault Mercedes or Ferrari for not taking that.
Yeah, if they're not
that chance.
Yeah, if they're not competing for first or second, then they're dropping the ball.
Right. So let me just make sure here. So in Spa, he was second, and in Italy, I think maybe he was third in Italy. So in Italy, he was third because of that last. What did he do? He made a mistake trying to chase down Leclerc. So, I mean, is what it is. But then you come to Singapore and Mercedes isn't even on the podium. Now that's insane,
right?
That's where.
Well, that comes down to the strategy call, I think.
Yeah, of course, for sure. But yeah, so let's go down. So Hamilton, we talked about Hamilton. Bottas, do you think he's still holding his own? Do you think that that Mercedes should have given Ocon the drive?
Well, it's funny because earlier in the season we talked about Hamilton being Mr. Reliable and not making mistakes, but we saw in the last 3 races him make little mistakes that cost him position, and there was a lot of rubbing and
just one race.
Yeah.
Just Italy. He didn't make any other mistakes. There was just one time. Don't try to play my boy.
But out of him and him and Bottas. Bottas is the driver who
Made more mistakes? Yeah, you're right. In the last 3 races?
right
You're 100% correct.
played it good. You know.
No, Bottas made more mistakes. Calvin, have you been watching the last 3 races, bro?
Yeah, of course.
I'm just saying, all right? You might need to reevaluate your argument here because Bottas made many more mistakes in the last 3 races than Hamilton did.
All right. Well, let's hear him. Like, what's the comparison here?
Well, I mean, you just talk about Italy, right? Bottas. So Hamilton made the mistake in Italy when fighting Leclerc. So, I mean, he kind of outbraked himself.
Yeah.
Chasing him. Mm-hmm. Bottas did the same twice during that race. He outbraked himself. And then he did at the same point.
Yeah,
so,
not chicane. But yeah, I hear what you're
turn
saying.
one,
Yeah.
turn one, Bottas, like the one chance
yeah.
he had to overtake or to get close enough to overtake.
Or to stay competing with him, and then he totally overshoots the corner.
Yeah, overshot the corner.
All right. I guess you're right.
But overall, let's focus on Bottas here, not Hamilton.
All right.
I know you're trying to prove a point with Bottas being
I'm
Mr.
looking
Reliable.
for every single weakness here.
So, I mean, do you feel like Bottas has done enough to warrant keeping his drive at Mercedes?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, if we just look at his first half of the season, not even starting after Spa, or excluding the last 3 races,
right?
Absolutely. I mean, I think Mercedes has come out and said so.
Yeah.
That they're gonna keep him around for next year. So, I mean, I think he's done what he needs to do. He just needs to continue and keep it up the rest of the season.
Yeah. I agree. He has done enough to earn that drive. Even with the mistakes him and Hamilton made, they made these mistakes in second place chasing first. Mm-hmm. They didn't lose any position. They didn't pull a Vettel mistake and completely spin out and then lose gobs of positions. Yeah. They made small mistakes that just stopped them from being able to take the next position.
Yeah.
So,
and when you're, like what you're saying, when you're trailing, it's easier to make those mistakes.
Right. Downforce, you lose that downforce.
Yeah. You're trying to play catch up. You're trying to look for a move or try to make things happen when they're not there. And then that's when the mistakes happen. Maybe that's Vettel's fault or issue for the last year or so.
He just hasn't been comfortable in the new turbo era Ferraris, unfortunately. Right. All right. So what about Leclerc and Vettel? How do you feel about Leclerc so far this year?
Complete 180 from last year, where Leclerc has gone. I don't know. He's proven himself as the number one driver on Ferrari, and I think the team is behind him in that capacity.
Yeah.
I mean, it shows from everything that the team principals are saying to how they support Vettel and how they support Leclerc, and it looks like Leclerc's the future, and that's where all their resources are behind him. So
I agree. I think they've all but said that he's the new number one driver. They've all but said
absolutely,
it. At this point, they just need to say it, and then everybody will be like, "Oh yeah, we knew that."
But I mean, at this point, if Vettel comes out and wins 2 or 3 more races compared to Leclerc and has a better performance, then I feel like Ferrari could do a complete 180. Be like, no, Vettel's our guy. He's been our boy from the beginning.
Good thing I don't think that's going to happen. So Vettel, do you think? How do you feel about Vettel's future with Ferrari at the moment? He's got this one win, right? He's just got this. Let's not overlook the fact that he has been just not doing what he should be doing in this car for the last. I don't even know how many races we are, but other than Singapore.
Well, since the middle of the season last year.
Yeah.
He hasn't been performing.
Exactly.
I don't know. He definitely needs to turn around. There needs to be more races like what we saw in Singapore. Him coming out on top in order to keep his spot at Ferrari. Ferrari's not like any of the other race teams where you can do bad for half a season or even a full season, but then he will be gone.
Yeah.
Ferrari doesn't settle for that. So
right.
He definitely needs to at least pull out a couple more wins this year.
Yeah. Do you think if he stays on his current track right now, not ignoring Singapore result, but do you think that ignoring or staying on his current track, his current performance, do you think that Ferrari should let him go? Or do you think they should give him another chance next season?
I think no matter what, he's going to be back around next season. Yep. But if we get 4 or 5 races into next season, and he's still not coming through or putting up results that they like, I think we might be hearing some more rumors. Yeah. What's it, the silly seasons, whatever he calls it, when they start moving drivers around? Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Do you think that he should retire himself?
I don't think so. I mean, I think he still got it. He's not that old compared to some other racers. So, I mean, I don't know. I'd love to see him back in the Red Bull chair. Less pressure. Yeah. So,
well, personally, I think I agree. I don't think they should let him go. I mean, I'm sure they don't have. I'm sure they have so many drivers that are willing and ready to step up into that spot. Right? It's Ferrari. They do not have a lack of interest in drives.
No,
it's Ferrari. Every driver wants to drive for Ferrari. So I think they should give him a chance. I do think he needs to change around, though. I think, like you said, if he doesn't change things, if going into next season and we're halfway through the season, he's still the same Vettel from half a season or from last year, then last year, second half of the season, then it's like, all right, they got to start making discussions to switch him out because it's just not working for him. Mm-hmm. Or maybe you could say he's not even that great. So he's not a great second driver either because Bottas is much better. Mercedes will still wipe if Vettel continues on this form. Mercedes will still wipe the floor with Ferrari because Bottas is reliable enough.
Oh, yeah.
To give Mercedes that 1-2 every time. But Vettel hasn't been reliable enough to be able to put himself ahead of the Mercedes and the Red Bulls. So
yeah. So Kimi is the number 2 guy. Like, that's his role. I mean, he fits into it perfectly. It's like Rubens Barrichello and Michael Schumacher, back in like the early 2000s. Yeah. Like, it fits that role perfectly. It's the same thing with Bottas. He's in that role. Yeah, he's really good. He can step up when Hamilton has an off race or he's just there to take the win if something does happen. And those are that's the role they both play into. So
it's interesting because I feel like, you're right. But even though like I feel Kimi has a really he's won a championship. He's kind of does not give 2 Fs. No. Right? Like he just,
that's
he's a very,
his attitude about everything.
Yeah, he's very whatever. Like I'm having a good time. But Bottas, I don't know what keeps him sane. I don't know what his, what internally, what is he doing mentally to be happy and content being second to, does he think Hamilton's going to, he'll outlast Hamilton? Is he younger than Hamilton? Does he think that eventually he'll be the number 1 driver for Mercedes once Hamilton leaves or what?
I don't know. I don't know. That's a tough spot to be in. I mean, you got this guy who's going to be one of the greats. He is so far is proving that.
Thank you.
I mean, reluctantly I say that. Now, I mean, obviously he's in the conversation with.
He's in the upper echelon. Yeah,
of course. And then, so it's a really tough spot for him to be in. Like, how do you compete with this number 1 guy and who's going to dominate for 10, 12 years, and then you're just that unlucky that you're in second place behind this guy? It's a tough spot to be in, and I don't know how that drains on you mentally. Yeah. But, I mean, you can tell this season I don't know what he did going into this season, but he obviously got something right.
Changed it up.
Yeah. So, I mean, he's definitely a different driver than he was last year, and I think an improved driver over last year. Yeah. So, I don't see him moving out of that number 2 spot at Mercedes anytime soon.
Well, there's rumors that Hamilton will go to Ferrari.
I mean,
but let's not even get into that. We spent too long on this, and we were supposed to be talking about Ferrari, and now we're talking about Mercedes again. So we went backwards.
It all goes up to Mercedes, always.
All right, Verstappen and I was gonna say Gasly, but not Gasly. Verstappen and Albon. So Verstappen, how do you feel about his performance so far this season? That's your boy, right?
Yeah, that's my boy. I mean, other than Spa, which was terrible. First lap. DNF. Other than Spa, I think he did good. I mean, they don't have the power that Ferrari has, but he's still competing. I know Albon has shown glimpses of the driver he could be. Yeah. But he's still young, so let's see what he can do. Give him a year.
Yeah, I think Verstappen is a strong driver. I mean,
he's definitely talented. Yeah.
Yeah, he's establishing himself as future world championship material. I mean, he was already established that way. We knew that before, but now it's almost like it's so close he can taste it. Like it could happen next year even. It could happen next year or the year after. It can happen in 2020 2020 change, right? 2021.
Yeah, 2021. Yeah, 2
So
years.
it can happen in all those changes. Who knows? But like it's so close. Like he's now so much closer to the Ferraris and Mercedes. So I feel like it's coming.
See, I feel like that is unfortunate for Red Bull because that 2021 rules changes that might level the playing field and give
other teams some chances.
all the constructors like a level playing field to go off of is going to be a little too late for Verstappen. I think he's going to end up going to either Mercedes or Ferrari within the next 2 years. So it's unfortunate
who knows?
for Red Bull, but
we know that Red Bull has a great chassis. They have an amazing chassis, right? Their downforce is the best on the grid. So who knows? I mean, they could still, if they've got that engineering team surrounding their chassis, they could still pull out ahead in design as far as getting that ground effect that they need.
Well, I mean, they've kind of been where they're at. Yeah, they've kind of been where they're at the last 3 years or so. Yeah. Like they just don't have quite enough power to compete. I mean, their chassis is amazing in some aspects. They're better than Ford and Mercedes, but Ferrari and Mercedes, but they can't pull out. They just can't pull the power.
Well, yeah, who knows? I think maybe it could shift. It could shift in their way 2021. It could not. We don't know. Mm-hmm. So moving on to Albon, 3 races in with Red Bull. Seems like I think we touched on it already. Seems like he's got a solid handle on the Red Bull chassis, better handle than Gasly had on it. But it's different races. So I think the only real way to know is next year if he's still in that seat.
Yeah,
we'll see what he does in those first half of the season as compared to Gasly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, it'd be interesting to look at how Albon did on. I know those are power circuits. We haven't had a lot of power circuits. There's probably a couple. And then the street track. I mean, it'd be interesting to compare Gasly's street track performance compared to Albon's.
Yeah.
Other than Spa, I mean, I didn't really hear him blowing anyone away other than that come from.
Well, in Singapore, he finished where he was supposed to. Like, he was in, 6th place?
Yeah.
So,
but I mean, is 6th place good enough? I mean, when you got your teammate who you're supposed to be right behind, third, not just as good. He's coming in 3rd. You're down in 6th.
But remember that 3rd was a fluke from Mercedes. So technically he should have been in 4th, which then puts Bottas between the Mercedes between the 2 Red Bulls. And I think that with that being said, we expect Verstappen he has the experience and the knowledge and the power and the skill to fight the Mercedes and Ferrari. But I do think that Albon did great this past weekend. And then I can't remember how Italy went though, so not even going to talk about it. But
yeah,
I think he's doing a better job than Gasly, and they made the right call. Seemingly, they made the right call. Whether or not it doesn't matter if Gasly would have still performed to this level. The point is they made the change, and it's paying off for them.
Yeah, you've made the change. Yeah. Stick with it.
It's paying off for them, so they made the right call.
Yeah.
Who knows what the call would have been if Gasly would have been.
Yeah, exactly. It's all speculation at that point.
All right, next up, my favorite team now. Not my favorite team. Favorite driver on that team. Second favorite team, because favorite team is still going to be Red Bull for me. But McLaren.
All right. Is this Carlos Sainz?
Carlos Sainz and Lando Norris.
Yeah.
Wait, did we talk about, I mean,
we kind of talked about Norris a little bit.
Hamilton, Bottas are confirmed. Vettel and Leclerc are confirmed. Max Verstappen's confirmed. Albon's not confirmed for a seat next year. So now on to McLaren, and both Sainz and Norris are confirmed as well. So how do you feel about Sainz and Norris's performance so far this season?
From where the team was last year to where they are now, I feel great with that team. Like in that lineup, they're set. I mean, that's where they want to be, and they're fighting for the best of the rest, and that's kind of their goal for right now until they can get everything squared away and start competing with the big teams, which is a hard thing for a non-works team to do. I think they're where they need to be, and they got the drivers to do it.
They're not only fighting, they're winning best of the rest by a solid 23-ish points, something like that. 22 points.
Are they coming in
over
fourth
Renault
in the constructors?
Yeah.
Yeah.
89-67.
Yeah, so I mean, it's good to see, especially
points.
from where they were, and then how little hope we had for them at the beginning of the season.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
And I think they're equal drivers, to be honest. I think they are both super strong in the car.
they're both talented. Yeah,
Carlos Sainz has been in the game for a while, so it is a lot more hype for Norris because he's new. Mm-hmm. He's new to the team. He's new to F1. He's new to the tracks. Some of these tracks don't get driven by the Formula 2 championship. So, like, he's never driven in Singapore. He never drove in some of the races. I can't think of them. Mm-hmm. And so for him to put the car and he was about to place in fifth in freaking Spa.
Yeah, that was
so like
unfortunate.
Yeah, it sucked. But Lando Norris, he's got a lot of hype because he's so new and so fresh. It seems like he's on his way to future world championship material. Carlos Sainz, also really good. I think he's only been in a few years, so he's definitely he can still definitely be world champion material if he gets the right drives. But I would say that Lando Norris has all the hype right now, especially with. Actually, they're perfect teammates too because they prank one another all the time. They seem like they have a good time. They have fun. So I like them as teammates too.
That's awesome. Yeah, I mean, I think this is where the team needs to be. And they're young drivers too. They're young, talented drivers. So the future looks good for McLaren.
Yep. All right, moving on to Renault. Hülkenberg and Ricciardo. So let's just talk about the obvious. Do you think Hülkenberg is going to get another seat? Do you think they were right to drop him for Ocon?
Did they re-sign Hülkenberg? I thought I saw something where
you don't know.
Hülkenberg there was something going on with him.
Don't know.
Now lay it on me.
Esteban Ocon is confirmed for Renault.
Okay,
alongside of Ricciardo.
Yeah, and he's taking Hülkenberg's. I
remember, on, man. Where you been? You go on vacation and you just lose everything.
I haven't traveled like 10,000 miles in the last 3 weeks, so it's good.
Yeah, man. So Hülkenberg lost his seat to Ocon, which so Mercedes dropped Ocon, right? I mean, he's still working for him for now, but his position has been kind of altered to make sure Mercedes don't give away too many secrets to Renault. But Ocon is confirmed in that seat, and Ocon is French, so that's great for them to have a French driver on the French team.
Renault, yeah.
So do you think Hülkenberg do you think he deserved the boot?
To be honest, I didn't know how Hülkenberg. He's kind of one of those drivers who just did good enough to remain where he was, and has always been middle of the pack and
very under the radar.
Yeah, I mean he's been in Formula One for a long time now.
A long time, yeah.
And he's always been middle of the road. He's done just well enough to stay on a team or stay in Formula One.
I don't even know if he's done just well enough. I feel like he's just a super low key out of the spotlight. You're not going to talk. He doesn't have anything bad talked about him because he's out of spotlight. He's low key. He does his thing. He does the best he can, and that's all they ask for him, and he does it. So,
yeah. I mean, if you want a driver who's middle of the road, then he's your guy.
Oh man, hey, it's making it hard. He's trying to find a drive right now, bro. Don't make it harder for him. So and then Ricciardo, how do you feel like he's doing for Renault?
Not well. I think he made a huge mistake going to Renault.
Oh, so you think Renault's not doing well for him, but he's doing okay for Renault then?
I mean, I think he's trying to do the best he can with the drive he has, but no. I mean, he hasn't been performing well. I mean,
they said that they did say they're aiming for 2021 anyway. They didn't say they were doing anything this year.
They're not even setting the bar low for this year and aiming for next year. They're jumping next year and aiming for 2021.
I think that's what they said, right? Or 2020. I think it's 2021. So
classic Renault.
I feel like it's hard to say whether or not he has been doing good for them because they have been so unreliable. Mm-hmm. So,
well, I mean, it's a continuation of what was happening last year with Renault. So,
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of like, not to be like, hey, I told you so, but I mean, it's kind of to be expected.
Yeah.
I mean, I think he took this like, hey, I'm going to be my own driver and I'm going to go to Renault and do all these great things. And it's like, I kind of made your bed.
Yeah.
And that's kind of how it
now
is.
you got to sleep in it.
Yeah.
Yeah. But they did show some real signs of power when they were overtaking a Ferrari in Italy. So that was awesome.
For a little bit until their engines blow up.
Turn it down, guys. Yeah. All right, let's move on to Toro Rosso. Daniel Kvyat and Pierre Gasly. So I guess we kind of talked about Gasly already. He got the swap, so we feel like, okay, cool. He's doing great for Toro Rosso. Mm-hmm. Put him. I think he finished eighth. I think he finished eighth in Singapore, that's
fantastic for Toro Rosso.
That was awesome, right behind Norris.
Yeah.
Daniel Kvyat.
Daniel Kvyat.
Yeah, cool. That's all we need to say about that. It's just like, okay, he's doing cool.
It gives me like the Hulkenberg vibe. Like, okay, he's in there. Yeah. He's never doing like terrible. He'll mix it up sometimes.
Not this season. He's not doing terrible. Last season, he was making mistakes.
Yeah. So, I mean, he's kind of just flying by under the radar.
All we can say about Kvyat is Kvyat. Cool.
Yep.
Racing Point. Sergio Perez.
Have a Russian driver in there somewhere.
Racing Point. Sergio Perez and Lance Stroll. How do we feel about those guys?
So, I mean, if anyone's listened to any podcast, I think they know how I feel about Lance Stroll. I don't believe he belongs in Formula One. But if we're looking at pure racing talent, I think there's better drivers out there than Stroll. But I mean, he's Lance Stroll. I mean, he always he's not going to make it out of Q1.
Billionaire playboy.
Yeah, he does well in races, though. I mean, he always he starts from 16th to 18th, ends up in 8th to 12th. Yeah, he does well at race pace, but I mean, he's terrible at qualifying.
That is true.
I don't know. He only shows up on Sundays. You got to put the whole weekend.
He's a billionaire. He got a party on the weekends, man.
Yeah,
can't be showing up to work on Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday.
Yeah, I mean, as far Perez is a good driver.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's kind of more the same with Hulkenberg, Kvyat, Perez. Like they're talented.
Yeah.
It's what can they really do though? I mean, with the drives that they have, they're not in the best car. I don't know. Maybe if Racing Point was able to. Force India and Racing Point. Maybe if that whole
that's Racing Point. It's not Force India.
Well, I'm talking about like the takeover or the selling of the team, and I know that screwed up a lot of their development. And they were looking really strong up until that.
Yeah, with Ocon and
mediation and then the selling of the team, and that really put a hamper on or a damper on their development. So I mean it would be nice to see what they could do with the full year or full development cycle, I guess.
Yeah. Okay. It's funny because Perez and Stroll, they're like opposite ends of the spectrum. Perez does bring a lot of sponsorship, but he doesn't have a whole lot of money himself.
Yeah.
So it's like and then billionaire who's going to show up to the race in his own personal helicopter, and Perez going to take his bus in.
That's true. That's a good point. The two guys who bring a ton of money to the sport, whether it's through their own pockets or someone else's.
Yeah, exactly.
They're both on the same team.
Perez got that Mexican sponsorship.
Yep.
Yeah, from the cartel. No, I was just kidding. I didn't say that.
They got that Pemex money, right?
Yeah. All right, Alfa Romeo, Kimi Räikkönen, Antonio Giovinazzi. Räikkönen, cool.
Yeah, I mean, Räikkönen's just a badass, right? Can we say that?
Well, you just did.
I think that one's fine. We'll let that one slide.
It's a donkey.
Yeah. But I mean, what's the hate on Räikkönen? I don't know. Räikkönen's becoming my favorite driver to watch.
Yeah, Räikkönen. He does his thing and he does it well.
And Giovinazzi, he had his moment in was it Singapore where he led for 4 laps?
He joined. He's the only driver that's not Mercedes, Ferrari, or Red Bull to lead a race this season.
Yeah. Wow. I mean,
There you
Best
go.
of the rest right there.
There you go. Claim to fame. I led 4 races
Right.
in the 2019 F1 season. Drop the
mean,
mic.
He has more pimp hand on 14 other drivers. So
All right, Haas, F1, Grosjean and Magnussen. First of all, how do we feel about Haas confirming and keeping Grosjean and Magnussen together, even though their kind of relationships always seem to battle each other, and then Grosjean hasn't been doing great at all for them for a while now.
yeah, this is my disappointment coming out of the mix up or the silly season, as they say. This season is this re-signing of Grosjean and Magnussen.
Yeah.
They're polar opposites when it comes to like their personalities and how they drive, and I don't know. They've had their time. We've seen what they can do.
I mean, I think Magnussen can. I don't like Magnussen. Let me get this straight. I'm not a fan.
I know, right? But if you're comparing the two, as far as like how their performance, I think Magnussen is the
Better driver. 100%.
But I think I'm 100% in agreement with you. Is I don't like Magnussen, even though he is the better driver.
Yeah.
I mean, I
It's
really like.
It's just your attitude, bro. Sorry.
Right, exactly. I mean, I really like Grosjean, but he is not that good of a driver if you're comparing the two.
Magnussen, you're probably cool to hang out with outside of a car.
Yeah, exactly.
So, but whatever. I'm surprised that they did that. And, Hulkenberg was pegged to be replacing Grosjean at this team.
You know what? I can kind of see that.
But it didn't happen. So nowhere for him to go at the moment. And I think they are hoping on Grosjean to bring in new sponsors because Haas, forgot to mention that, lost their Rich Energy sponsorship.
Well, dude, the whole Rich Energy thing, have you read anything about that
Nope.
sponsorship?
Nope.
It's insane. It's like
Put me on game.
it's a guy in England, right, who's like, hey, I'm starting this energy drink. We need to do like take a page out of Red Bull where it's like all marketing, extreme sports. I'm gonna go and get this deal with a Formula One team, and then he's. I think I read a statistic. He sold like 86,000 cans of this energy drink, and like halfway into the season, that was the number. So there's no product out there to actually buy. Like I've looked into trying to buy this energy drink, can't find it anywhere. So they don't actually make a product. It's shady where he's getting this money, I guess. Halfway through the season.
Drugs.
Yeah. So something. Halfway through the season, this is all alleged.
Yeah.
I think there's court deals and everything. But halfway through the season, he goes on Twitter. He goes on some tirade about how Haas is underperforming. And
Of course they are.
And we're dropping them as a lead sponsor. And then Haas is like, no, we have a contract. You can't do any of that. Like, it's not happening.
Yeah.
And
then
then
dropped them.
yeah, dude, it's crazy. And then he stole like their Rich Energy logo. There's a bicycle company in England that has the exact same logo. Like they added like 2 extra horns on it.
Man.
Dude, the whole thing is crazy. It's like they're going to make a documentary about this in a couple years about what's happened with this energy thing.
Yeah.
And it's going to be insane.
Oh, man. I can't wait. I can't wait to see it. I'm going to look into that.
That's why halfway through the season, the Rich Energy logo disappeared off the Haas's because like they went to like copyright court or whatever in England.
No, man.
And they were like, you can't use this, and you owe this bicycle company all this money.
Really?
Yeah. And they're like, every single thing that you've sold with this logo on, you owe them like 50% of. Dude.
Dang.
So it's crazy.
Bad deal for Haas. Good thing they've cut ties now.
It's not really for Haas. I mean, Haas just they're getting their sponsorship money from somewhere. Who knows?
You don't
where.
want to be. You don't want that kind of publicity tied to your F1 car. You got this company that's shady and stealing products, and you don't want that. So it's bad deal for Haas. They don't want that money. That's dirty money.
Absolutely,
They want clean money. They need to go to like El Chapo.
Yeah, don't do shady business deals with crazy English dudes that you've never heard of before.
Oh, man. All right. Last but not least, Williams, Kubica, and Russell. Russell been doing great for Williams. Amazing for them.
So I mean, Russell, I feel like this is the story of the year, other than, like, obviously the fight for the championship, is the young talent that's in Formula One right now.
100%.
Your freshmen and sophomore drivers who are the future. And they're replacing guys like Hulkenberg and everyone, and Russell's just more of the same, where you got these really talented guys, and they're going to end up on being number one drivers for 4 teams, and then hopefully with these rules changes, they're going to be the guys battling for the championship, and it's going to be a more level playing field, and you're going to get these 4 or 5 driver battles for the championship, and I think Russell's part of that equation.
I agree. I think he definitely is got some future champion material written all over him.
Yeah.
He's putting that Williams where it shouldn't be. He's like Alonso in the McLaren a couple years ago.
Right.
So Kubica, underperforming, but has probably been doing a lot of great things for the team as far as development goes. Probably giving them some good insight that Russell can't provide because he's new to the F1 car. Kubica did confirm on his own, Williams is not dropping him. He confirmed that he will not be participating in Formula One any further. He has accomplished his goal of getting back into Formula One after his big accident, which is an amazing feat in itself because it takes a lot to drive these cars. It takes a lot.
Oh, yeah.
So he had a great accomplishment, and he has said that he will be stepping down from the Williams team and F1 after the season is over. Do you think that Hulkenberg will go to Williams, or will Williams bring up Latifi? I think is the guy they've got.
Oh, like in reserve or in their junior leagues?
Yeah. I think he's in Mercedes.
I don't know.
I think he's a Williams driver. I don't know.
That's a hard question because, do you want to? I guess you can pull a McLaren that's worked out for them, get 2 young drivers.
But Carlos Sainz has experience.
1 and 2 years. Yeah, 1 and 2 years of experience for each driver.
He's been there for like 3 years, right?
Sainz?
Yeah.
I don't know. I thought it was only 2. But yeah, so you get Russell, he'll be going into the second year. Then do you bring up a guy with 1 year of experience, or do you play it safe and go with Hulkenberg, who's been in here forever?
Maybe he can bring some good secrets from Renault.
He might have some insights into, hey, this is how we did it over here, or this is how we've done it in the past. Like, he has that experience. So
Nico Hulkenberg may have been a driver for Williams at one point in his career for as long as he's been in the game.
Back when
he started his career with Williams in 2010.
Oh, dang.
So 2010, Williams, Force India for a year, 2011 to 12, Sauber in 2013, Force India again in 14 to 16, and then Renault from 2017 to 2019. So could he go back to his original digs and bring back all that experience he got after leaving him the first time? Who knows?
That'd be cool to see.
Yeah. All right. So I guess that's all the teams.
We covered the teams and drivers. I know. Yeah, this was a little bit of a weird episode, but I liked it.
Yeah, it was solid. So now we've got Russia next.
Yeah.
September 27th.
It's right around. 29th. Yeah, so it's this weekend.
So that is this weekend in which we're both out of town.
Yeah, we're both traveling again.
So, bear with us, folks. Bear with us.
As
we experience some turbulence.
I don't know. Are you going to be back on Monday?
Yes.
So maybe we'll do the same thing. We'll record on Tuesday. Try to get it up Tuesday, Wednesday.
Yep. That's if I can get around to watching the race while I'm getting wasted in Cancun.
Oh, that's true. Where's the baby going to be?
He's with his mom. It's something that was already on the books.
Oh, okay.
30th birthday for one of my good friends. So gonna do that, and my wife has graciously allowed me to
nice
to get away from the house for just a little bit.
Yeah, enjoy it while you can.
Yeah, just a little bit.
Cool.
We got Russia coming up, and after that we've got Japan and then Mexico. So
Russia, and then US. Is that the Sochi track? No, not Sochi. That's South Korea. I'm thinking, what's the Russia? It's where they had the Olympics. They race. They have a track there.
It's Sochi.
Yeah, Sochi, right? Okay.
Yeah.
was getting all these.
It's Russian, not Japanese. I mean, not Korean.
I was getting all these cities confused. It sounds like a Korean city, right?
Could be.
Yeah. But anyway, yeah, that's a fun track to watch.
Yep. It is. It is going to be kind of a power track, but we're not even going to get into it. We're not going to do any predictions, anything like that. We're going to be done now. Just kidding. We're still here.
Yeah.
All right, but we are going to wrap up. Thanks for listening. As usual, you can find us on Instagram at StartingGridUSA. You can email us at startinggridusa@gmail.com and complain to us as to why you haven't heard from us in 3 or 4 weeks. You can give us some tips. You can reach out and just say hello or whatever. And we'll see you guys again in a week.
Ciao, ciao.